This is legendary hacker Lord Nikon, most known for his photographic mirroring and his leet computer skills. Lord Nikon? Nikon? Hey, we started. Nikon! Give me like 5 minutes. I'm hacking the Gibson with a few friends of mine. Alright, so I was talking to my boy Serial, and basically, we decided that if I'm gonna do this, then I'm gonna do this right. So, we're gonna be reviewing clips from the media of hacking scenes, but also, we're gonna be talking about implementation details and adding some real world context that will make that technique make sense. Full disclaimer, some of the clips do portray illegal activity. To be clear, I am not encouraging or endorsing criminal activity. I am a law-abiding citizen that is sharing their knowledge for educational purposes only. And with that said, let's get to the first clip. Sir Robot, Episode 1, Iconic Scene.
Sorry for interrupting. I love Victoria, and I want us to get along for her sake. That's what I'm here for. I normally don't do things like this. It's just.
Am I crazy for not liking this guy? He's a rap fan, but believes the greatest rapper of all time is Dylon. And he's also a cube rule fanatic, to the extent that anytime he sees a starch-based meal, he can't help but debate the category with the person that's eating. Must I really justify myself any further?
Life isn't easy. It comes at you fast, and I'm going through stuff, you know?
His password makes it easiest to hack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I want to see that clip. Alright, so we can see at the first line that Sir Robot is using Python. Which makes sense. It's easy to write a lot of these programs, especially hacking tools, in Python. A lot of them actually are written in Python. So that's realistic. And then moving onward, this is a classic example of a dictionary attack, which means that I do not know your password, but I'm going to try to guess your password by going down a list of potential passwords and trying each and every one of them until one of them lets me into your account. This is noted by the checking line. So you can see at the end of it, we have the total number of passwords that we're going to check against, and then we can see the password that we're currently on, the number of it. Now, is this realistic? Meh. Sure, dictionary attacks are a valid hacking technique, no question about it. But in today's day and age, you'd be hard-pressed to find a site or application that will allow you to make unlimited password attempts without trying to stop you in between, like after 3 attempts you can't do anything for a while, you get locked out, or without notifying the owner of the account that somebody's trying to break in. That said, let's say we do live in a world where we get unlimited password attempts. The pros of the dictionary attack are that it is simple to implement, and if your target's password is in the list, then you're done. You crack their account. But the cons come into play if the target's password is not in that list. So when we're looking at the Sir Robot clip, right? He went through 1 billion or so different passwords. That was the total number of passwords in his dictionary list. That takes time to iterate over. If you're in Python, let's say 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time to wait, especially if you're like Sir Robot and you're doing this for every person you meet. So if we can speed this up, then we should speed this up. And one of the easiest ways to speed up something in Python is to write an extension for it in another language. Let's bring in Rust. Writing Python extension in Rust is a solved problem. There's a crate called Py03 that exists just to do this, and it's pretty simple to use. There's a good amount of documentation here, but more or less it boils down to this. You are going to create a Rust crate that is a library. You're going to import pi03. You are then going to annotate the function that you want to export with pi function, right, as you see right there. And then this is what's kind of unique to this process, is that you have to create a pi module. So you're going to use that annotation on a different function. And the only thing that module is responsible for is holding all of the things you want to export. So as you can see in the m.add wrap line, right? We're adding the function that we want to export to the module. And that's more or less it. That's the Rust code. Now you just have to go through the process of building your shared library. Maturin to the rescue. You can pip install this and it will take care of building and packaging your Python Rust project for you. The only thing it asks is that your project be laid out in a certain format. In your project, you need your cargo.toml file, which is needed for Rust. Then you have what they have here called my_project, where all of your Python code goes. Then if you continue down the line, there's the README, needed for projects. But then there's the source directory, which is where your Rust library code goes. Once you run the mature and develop command, your shared object file will be created for you. And then you're pretty much done. You just import it in Python and you use it. The only thing that should be noted is that the mature and develop command doesn't automatically optimize your Rust code. It creates a debug version. And debug versions of Rust code are much slower than Python code. Much slower. So if you want to make sure you have a release build or make sure you have an optimized version of your code, you need to go in the cargo.toml file and then add some flags in the profile dev section. I wrote a toy version of the dictionary attack in Python and as a Rust extension for Python. Rust is on the left, Python is on the right. And as you can see, the code is more or less the same. Pause the video if you want to read through it. Anyway, on the right side at the top, you can see that I'm importing dictionary attack, which is actually the Rust code, as you can see on the left. And I know benchmarks are subjective, but I ran them on my machine and it showed that the Rust code was a little over twice as fast as the Python. All right, let's roll that next clip. Bargaining Chip, episode 1.
Hey, heads up. Look, the Rufio story is 90% true. He is the head of Pan Peter Aerospace. Big rival, Hook James Aviation. But check out what my little web crawler coughed up.
We have lost research that we've been working on for 5 years. Our servers have been sabotaged. Now, we're going to pursue these perpetrators to the full extent of the law with all of the resources we have at our disposal.
This clip is 100% true. Using web scrapers for recon, i.e. having bots go out to the internet, scrape information on your target and bring it back to you? Pfft, this is so commonplace you don't have to build tools for it anymore. There are things like the Harvester, which is written in Python by the way, that exists just for this. In terms of optimizations, there aren't really any you can do. Like any lag time or slowness that you see from this is going to be because your internet is slow and not because the tool is slow. However, there is one interesting thing to think about in terms of this problem and this solution, and that is how do you go about parsing the information that the bots bring back to you? Personally, I would create a summary function that takes in the HTML or text that the bot brought back and some keywords that I deem important to look for in that text. And then you could also do like a buffer input where it returns the sentence that the term came in, plus the 2 lines before it and 2 lines after it to give you some context. Now that can be optimized. And that can be optimized mainly because the speed of it relies solely on how fast your code runs on your machine. So I wrote the summary function as a Python extension in Rust. I played around with the implementations and discovered that if you pay attention to memory allocations and you drop in a line of rayon, which is a crate that changes your sequential Rust code to parallel Rust code, you can get the same implementation to run nearly 3 times faster. And on that note, I am out. Hack the planet.